I'm gonna show you the #1 brush that you must have when you're achieving glam waves. Stick around, I'm gonna show you this step by step. Today we're gonna be using the Olivia Garden Divine brush. This brush is a go-to must-have. It's got a boar bristle mixed in with your detangling bristles on top, and it actually has the ceramic coating on top as well to eliminate frizz. This gives you ultimate shine, and you can see the way the handle is a little unique. This handle is meant to be held at the base. A lot of times when we are setting waves and doing glam styles, it's really hard to get ergonomics and to get that control we're looking for when we're like moving it from side to side. So this is designed just for that. But first we're gonna be using a detangle brush. I chose to use, of course, the Olivia Garden detangle brush. For now, we want to at least get rid of tangles in the hair first. You can use a dry shampoo to start setting the hair, and then of course, a heat protectant when you are setting your curls. This is also by Olivia Garden, the Titanium Ion Curling Iron. It has a double heat barrel, it has a swivel cord, and it has an automatic shut off. And these settings are at 355, which is like the perfect setting when you're trying to do those sets. And I'm gonna start from the bottom up on each section. So we're gonna start from one side to the next and then work our way back. Now, before we can ever start curling the hair, it's so important to get that maximum achievement with glam style. Nothing says glam like a nice side part. So we are going to part it more off to the side. And typically I would say just for dramatics, it's better to go a little bit further over than you normally would because this is a more glam red carpet style. So I'm gonna part it to one side before I start setting. And to make this a little bit easier, I do like to section to the side. And when it comes to the hairline, I find it a lot easier when you kind of work in a bricklay pattern. But you're gonna notice that when I start, I'm gonna start out horizontal and I'm gonna kind of fan my way up toward the top of the head. So by knowing that I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do a diagonal back section. This will kind of help marry the front and the back together. So that diagonal back section is literally just gonna go 3 finger widths behind the ear. Depending on the density of the hair, you can go even more, but because we have such dense hair, we're only gonna do 3 finger widths behind the ear, and then I'm gonna section that out of the way. Before I start curling, I am gonna start out with a little bit of heat spray just to ensure that everything is protected while we are using that heat. And then I'm gonna do a couple passes through with my detangling brush. I'm now gonna start out with my horizontal parting right above the ear. So I'm gonna take this whole horizontal piece through here. And as you can see, it goes from the front to the back. The smaller the section, the stronger the curl. So I'm gonna do a slightly larger section. And as you can imagine, if you go in with a smaller, you're gonna get a tighter, more enhanced curl. But for this tutorial, I wanna show you a more relaxed version of the glam wave. The other thing you're gonna need are some smaller setting clips. This is going to be for your actual curl. Once you actually get your curl set, you would want to clip that in the very bottom. So now we're gonna take our entire section through here. Make sure it is tangle free, prep it in your hands. And then I'm gonna grab my Olivia Garden Titanium Ion Iron. And I'm gonna open the bill and I'm gonna actually wrap it inside more toward the middle of the section. As I wind that in toward the root, I'm opening the clip again and I'm dropping the ends into the barrel. So I'm gonna continue doing that, reopening. And once I get the ends all the way into that clip, I'm gonna wind all the way down through here. And when you're near the ear, you can actually use your comb and put your comb at the base to make sure that you're not on top of the ear. If you're bold enough, you can use your fingers. I think it's more professional to use your comb. And then to tap this off, you're gonna open the clip, use the tail of your comb to slide that off. If the curl comes unwind, no big deal, just wind it back up again. Bring it in and then open up your clip and secure that in place. We're gonna do the exact same curl style. I'm gonna go at a diagonal now. So as I was saying before, I'm going at a slight diagonal every single time I drop that hair. What that's gonna do is it's going to decrease the chances that you have of too flat on top, and it also decreases the chances of having a dent. So by doing this, it gives a more full style closer to the root area. Once again, I'm gonna open that clip up, get it more into the center of the style, give it a nice twist open that up, and every time you wind it, you reopen your clip and drop those ends in. As you get a little bit more hair secured in there, you do a little bit of a shimmy. So you might notice that I'm opening and kind of tapping the very end, and we're gonna wind it all the way in. Once again, wind it in and take your clip to secure it in. Now we're gonna go even steeper with our diagonal, so it's parting kind of in half, this entire section through here, and then we're left with this top piece. Release just a tiny bit, open the barrel, slide it out of the barrel, and drop your clip into the base. As you notice, as I get higher up on the head, I take the elevation higher up. So at the very top, my elevation is all the way up. Previous, I was bringing it further down. The elevation at the base is all the way down at 0. This is also going to ensure that I get maximum volume for this style. The good part about a double barrel is that you don't have to hold it in place for too long. That extra heat setting really helps with getting everything evenly set, so that lets you work through the style a lot faster. This one goes straight up in the air. And with the shorter pieces here, you can over direct, so that's what I'm gonna do. Since there's shorter pieces around the face, instead of pulling it back, I'm gonna over direct it toward the face. I'm still dropping my barrel in at that angle, and I'm working with that section. I really wanna work with these pieces around the face so that I get the maximum curl out of it. While we let that cool, I am gonna use a light hairspray just through that section, let it finish cooling, and then I'm gonna jump over to the other side. So now we're gonna do a brick lay section, and for the brick lay, I'm working from the bottom up. It's a lot easier to work in rows and doing exactly what I was doing before. Heat spray, detangle, and then wind my titanium iron through the hair, mid through, winding those ends in, working from the very bottom, getting the tail all the way into that clip, winding it fully in and using the back end of my comb to hold that in place so it doesn't get too close to the skin. Releasing a tiny bit and using the tail end of my comb to get those ends off, and then winding this in and clipping that into place. We are now ready for the brick lay. So I'm gonna do another horizontal section right through the top. We're going to subdivide these in half, but rather than taking everything directly in half, I am gonna do it at a slight diagonal, just so that you don't see a split where one ends and one begins. And because this split is on the bottom, I'm gonna start with this side first. So I'm gonna bring this section toward me. Same thing as before, winding, starting in the very center of my section, winding those ends into that clip, kind of shimmying that open to release some of those ends back into the clip as I wind my section down. It's really important when you're winding it just to get close to the very end of your section, not over directing it too much so that you can still get that curl in shape right at the base. Clip that into place. And then I'm gonna drop down my second section that's right next to it. And I'm gonna follow exactly what I was doing before. So I'm going to continue working in this way, taking horizontal partings all the way through the top until I'm at my very last one. And as you can see, because we did the diagonal back sections on each side, your top section will end in a single. Okay, we're at our very last section, and you can see here that we got at the narrowest part of the head at the very top where those two diagonal back sections meet, and it's just wide enough. It's the perfect section to get into our barrel. So we're gonna do the exact same thing as before. I just wanted to finalize this by showing you exactly our last step before we let it cool down. Winding those ends in. We're gonna finish this off with one last spray. Just a nice light coating through everything. Okay, it's been a few minutes. We let everything cool off. Now we are going to pull out these clips. So just give a nice gentle pull, drop those sections down. Okay, now we're ready for the divine brush. This is the fun part. So interestingly, when we set hair with curls and we brush it out, it almost feels counterintuitive, like we're undoing the things we've done. But because everything is set and we are going for that really soft, nice glam look, we do want to actually use our brush to our advantage. So I'm going to start out by pulling the hair away from the face and brushing it out. And this is one of those scenarios that you can never brush it enough. Don't worry about destroying the curls, because the whole point of this is to help these curls work together. So I'm going to gently pull out all of these soft waves, and then I'm going to work around the head counterclockwise from there. From the bottom, I like to turn my brush upside down and pull upward toward me. And then I start pulling it from the sides on each side, always pulling the style toward me. And as I'm opening it up, I'm dropping it down and I'm kind of letting it fall into place together. So this is the initial brush out before I actually create the shape that I want. Once again, I pull everything toward me, brushing everything up and away from the face. Okay, now we're gonna go into molding our shape. So with molding the shape, I want this to fall up and away from the face, and I'm holding my hand into place as I cascade everything around my hand. So I'm really telling it, this is what I want you to do. And when you preset curls ahead of time, it kind of follows suit with the direction you want to go in. I really like what's happening right now. Everything is starting to take its own shape, and we're not seeing individual curls as much anymore. So that's really the goal. You know you're done when you don't see as much of separation happening within the curls and they start to bounce and take their shape on together. On the other side, rather than pulling it up and away, I'm going to smush it down away from the face. I want this side to collapse a little bit more, so I'm going to keep my hand to the side as I continue pulling the style away from her face. The back section, I'm just going to keep dragging everything back toward me, and you can see that nice light bounce that starts to happen through the ends. And you can see now where everything is starting to join together. It's really coming into shape. Last and final touches come down to either accessories, where you can really offset that by placing accessories to the side. In this situation, we're not focusing on accessories, just the style itself. I'm gonna do a nice light mist of spray. This is actually where you can use the tail end of your comb as well if you really want to enhance that. Let it set for just a couple of seconds through here. This is also where you can use the tail end of your comb on the opposite side when you're looking to pull everything away from the face. So I'm going to hold it here in place, give it a little spray. The back end of my bottle, I'm going to push it down. Hold on to it just for a couple of seconds before you let it go, and then you have that nice, easy hold. Any flyaways, you can kind of use the tail end of your comb as well to tap everything down. And there we have it, our nice, gorgeous, soft glam wave. She's ready for the red carpet. Try this out on your own next time, and definitely use a divine brush. I'm gonna link everything down in the description below so that you can see what tools we use today and you can get some for yourself. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time.